in today's tutorial happens to be the very first time, very first tutorial, go straight into it. I like to let us know that everything we're going to be taking in this tutorial today, it's actually from our course material, and it's actually the material of the National University of Nigeria. Right. So what we do here is just to help students understand the materials, discuss, simplify the materials, bring extract points, and help simplify the material. And basically everything we do here is for educational purpose. All right, we don't throw jabs, we don't instigate violence, nothing of such. All right, it's basically to help students understand their course materials better. Right, so I have classes and we are expected to take a picture of your notes and send them to the class so we can acknowledge that you have been following up on classes. And please, for those of us who might be new to this stream, all right, or you're already a member, do also smash the like button, all right, and if you already subscribed, fine. If you had subscribed, do also subscribe to the channel. And as well, for those of us that might be interested in our private class, where we do a lot of, all right, a lot of digging deep, and we give students a lot of resources set them up for exams, all right. And you can just reach out to me on www.tutorial.com, or just go to Google and type in tutorial now, National University of Nigeria, and it takes you to our own page. You get to see our own page, and then you click on it, then it takes you to our website. And on our website, just on the right hand corner, there's a WhatsApp icon there. If you click on it, it means you're sending me a direct message, and I'll definitely respond as soon as possible. With this being said, let's off to the video. So we have POL211. Okay, now according to the thumbnail, we have custom and law. But just before then, let's consider looking at some other things before we talk about custom and law. So now let's talk about law, and let's talk about law itself. Now, in some way, all right, I want to look at morality may appear to me the same thing, all right, and the two are often confused, law and morality. Now, in some cases, law appears to be behind morality. Law may go beyond prevailing level of morality in the society. Now, I'm going to talk about law and morality. Now, when we say morality, no doubt it's very vital, all right, constituent of the law. Okay. Let's just put it this way. Morality, right doing. Okay? Morality, right doing. Or doing what is right. Doing what is socially approved. Doing what is community-wise approved. Okay? Like I said in our respective classes, that in some community, there are things that are approved in this community that might community. Right? So according to your society, according to your community, doing what is approved by them is seen as a morality. Now let's talk about what we have in the material. No doubt it is said that morality is said to be a vital constituent. Okay? A vital constituent. Alright? A vital what? Constituent of law. Meaning that it's a vital part of the law. Okay? Morality is a vital part of the law. Although we have that as that. So now, it appeals to a person's conscience and sense of right and wrong. Okay? Appeals to a person conscience, appeals to a person's conscience and sense of right and wrong. Like I said earlier, just doing that which you deem fit as right. All right? Conscience and sense of right and wrong. of what is good and what is evil. Are we together? Please, as you join the stream, do not hesitate to smash the like button. Do not hesitate to say hello, hi, so we can acknowledge your presence. So now, still on the topic sentence, a principle of human conduct, conscience, becomes a self-legitimating what? Mechanism. When we are talking about human conduct, your conscience plays a very important role. It is said to be a what? A legislating mechanism. All right. When it comes to human, all right, conduct, legislating. And when we talk about legislating, we're talking about that mechanism that make rules and regulation. That mechanism that tells you that, or that mechanism that tells that this is your full stop. This you don't go beyond this line. Do this, do that, observe this, observe that. So human conduct, conscience, we have legislating mechanism. Legislating mechanism. Right? So we have that as that. So with enough being said on morality, okay, so let's consider some similarities basically between morality and law. Okay, similarity, we have basic principle of morality is also the basic principle of law. Take note of that. The basic principle of morality is also the basic principle of law, which means that good must be done and evil must be avoided. As you can see, there's little or no difference. There are little or no difference between the two. All right, avoiding evil and doing what is right, what is good. That is also the principle of the law. That's also the principle of morality. Okay, so we have that as that. So it says here that morality can therefore be viewed under two perspectives. All right, under two separate angles. First, we have ideal morality. This ideal morality dwells on morality in the context. All right, dwell on morality in the context of individual as a person. All right, while positive morality discusses morality in its individual and other member. Now, morality can be seen in two contexts. So we have the ideal morality, and we have as well the positive. Individual conscience. Here we have individual conscience in relating, let's just put like relating to a community. All right, so now when you are interacting with others, you also have to have this positive mindset, just like you have a positive or you have a correct mindset towards yourself as a person, and definitely it will translate, it will spread, it will reach out to how you even interact with people. It's you. So let's take a step further. So I believe we all know what is it by what it means by law. That's why nothing much has really been said on law. Morality is something we need to expand on. So when we basically talk about law, if you know what morality is, definitely you should have an idea of what law simply is. When we say law now, we're simply talking about regulating principles. Right? We're simply talking about rules guiding against certain things. Right? We're simply talking about checks put in place, just like your conscience as an individual. But here we're talking about checks, rules, regulations, all right, legislated and implemented by a body in a community, in a state, or in a country, just to ensure smooth running, all right, and discourage, all right, serves as deterrent. Discourage violators or anyone that might want to violate certain rights, vandalize, all right, vandalize or violate, it acts as deterrent to them that if you dare try this, then be expecting to face the wrath of the law. Right? So it's more like a guide, right? Deterrent, regulation, rules created created, formulated, and implemented by a particular body, all right, in order to ensure the peace and harmony, all right, in his community, in his state, and in a nation. So we have that as that. So now let's quickly talk about custom. Just like we talked about morality and law, let's also talk about custom and law. Now, when we say custom, like law, also legally binding unless it receives the force of law. Now, when we talk about custom now, we are simply talking about the values held dear by the member of a particular community. All right, these values translate to their custom. These values translate to their way of life. These values translate to how they communicate, what they eat, how they dress, and how they do business. This happens to be their custom. And speaking of custom translating into law, it does not become legally binding. Custom not legally binding without what? Without the force of law. Without the force of what? Law. Okay. So now, if something is generally accepted and has become a way of life, some person might still violate it. But the moment whereby there is a rule that is binding according to the government, all right, or according to the body responsible for creating rules and regulations, the moment they acknowledge that this particular thing or this particular way of life, therefore, should be done like this, and if it's violated, all right, if force, can you say force? If this has not been added to it, then custom is not yet a law. But the moment force is attached to it, there's a repercussion, there's a consequence, then everybody sits upright. So we have that as that. So now let's quickly take a look at the types of law. All right, we have the external law. Okay, external law, which literally means that something has always now. External law are laws that are constant, everlasting, and universal. Those are external laws, like laws of gravity, rotation, law of motion. Speaking of divine law, law from above, and we have that as that. All right. Under these external laws, we have the natural law, all right, laws that are coded by nature. Okay. We have that. We also have the positive law. Okay. Positive law means the same thing as human law. All right. It is expected that this is expected to happen if it is accorded by this sign. All right. Positive laws. It's also the same thing as law. So we have that as that. So now let's quickly talk about the private and public law. All right. When we say private and public law, permit me to raise God. So like I said earlier, it might not really be a long class, all right, because it's pretty late and it's been a long day. We just have to do something. We cannot defer class. We just have to do something. So now we are doing this. So please, it might not really be a long class. So we have a private law. And speaking of the private law, it comprises those laws that serve to regulate the conduct of persons in their interpersonal dealing. All right, corporate persons' obligations now regulates persons / individuals in what? In their interpersonal dealings. regulates persons slash individual conducts in their interpersonal dealings. So everything you do, you need to respect the rights of the other person. Alright? This has to be private law. Alright? And when we say public law, it is primarily concerned with the smooth running of the what? Machinery of the state. Alright? So it's concerned with the state at large. Concerned with the state at large. So we have that as that. So we also have the civil law. Just like the civil law is almost the same thing with the private law, but here it has its origin in the Rome. All right, it has its origin in the Rome, and the Roman having what we call commentaries of European scholars on the Justinian. Now, what are we saying is that civil law employs what we call inquisition, from the word inquisition, questioning. Alright, now the civil law has several meanings depending on the context in which it is used. Now, in this context, it means the law, which defines the rights and duties of a person to another and provides a system whereby an individual who is injured by the wrongful act of another can be what? Compensated for damages which he has suffered. Alright, the word civil, being a patriotic citizen. Alright, so here let's just take this point. Defines the rights of an individual. Defines the rights of individual. And under this we have what we call civil law. Alright, law of contract, torts, contracts, law of torts, land law, family law, and the likes. Okay, so we have all that as that. So we that as that. Now, when we say torts, okay, here is the law that has to do with binding, all right, parties in contracts. All right, here is more like we are doing business. If anybody goes against the rule of the contract without proper acknowledgement of what has binded them, then the other person will have to, all right, if the other person defaults, the person will face the wrath of, all right, the contract. Okay, so when we talk about torts now, it's a wrongful act or an infringement of the right. All right, infringement of a right other than under the contract. All right, so we have that as that. So we also have the written and unwritten law. Okay, so the written here has a technical meaning. It means that a rule of law that has been formally enacted into legislation. Speaking of the written, all right, a rule of law that has been formally enacted, formally passed into a legislation or statute by the legislature, where unwritten could be explained in two different forms. It may be a principle, all right, or rule of behavior that is not written, more like a code of conduct. And it could also be unenacted law. All right, unenacted law. So we have that as that. So call it wrap here for today. In our next class, we will be dissecting, all right, the origin and the meaning of law. All right. So thank you very much, everyone. I believe you have been able to gain a thing or two in today's class. Please let's keep our notes up to date and send them to the quarters. I look forward to seeing all subsequent tutorials. Have a wonderful night. Bye bye.